When Samurai Jack was first revealed to be coming back, I wasn't too thrilled. I didn't grow up with cable, and while I love what I saw of the original cartoon, I don't have that much of an attachment to the original series. Don't get me wrong, throughout the years I will always think back fondly of the show and wonder if Jack ever got back to the past. But seeing the grimdark imagery in the promo art and the promise of a darker tone had me rolling my eyes. I strongly dislike overly dark themes. The world is depressing enough as it is. I hear about so much unnecessary death and corruption every day of my life, and I really don't need to experience a story whose sole purpose is to tell me about how much life sucks. I really don't need that, and I don't think the world does either. I was of course impressed at episode 1's artwork and directing, but that was never a concern of mine to begin with. The writing was the real question. Our once calm and gentle samurai has become deranged and suicidal. His tampering with time travel has left him unable to age, and he's been stuck fighting an endless battle with Aku for 50 years. Seeing 22 minutes of a sad dude killing stuff would have been fun to look at, but ultimately, it would have felt hollow. Fortunately, the writers didn't forget to throw in a little comedy, which is why I found the villain, Scaramouche, to be such a treat. Despite his atrocious acts, he injected in a great bit of humor into this depressing world. The humor continues on in episode 2's superb opening sequence, with Aku having a therapy session with himself. To be honest, I didn't laugh once during the 3 times I've seen this episode, but it's great black humor nevertheless. The visual gags are stunning, and the writing is so personal and masterful, I get chills just thinking about it. Both Aku and Jack are depressed over the other's presence. The rules have changed now. Jack has lost his sword and cannot face Aku. But Aku himself doesn't know that the only thing that can kill him is gone, and has been cowering in fear over Jack returning to kill him for over 50 years. This exposition goes down smoother than a Whataburger coffee shake, thanks to the excellent script and the talented voice performance of voice actor Greg Baldwin. Episode 2 might be the darkest episode in the entire series, but it's a masterpiece from beginning to end. I think it's one of the greatest 22 minutes I'll see in my lifetime. What a superb piece of animation. The chase sequence was paced perfectly. Seeing Jack lose all of his armor and futuristic weaponry so early on was a shock. The daughters of Aku brought Jack onto his full-on primal self, and the intense conversation he had with himself told me that this show was truly mature. The fact that he's considered suicide as an option all this time broke my heart, but made so much sense. I love how this episode ramped up in intensity and just exploded with well choreographed, every move counted action at the end. I feel stupid for even talking about it. It's good stuff. What more do you want from me? Episode 3 was extremely dark too, and I was already getting exhausted watching it. But there were some powerful moments of peace here that really kept things balanced out. Fellow writers, never forget, if we as your audience don't see your characters having fun or enjoying their lives, we have no reason to give a crap about them when they're in trouble. People experience so many different emotions in their day-to-day lives. You can't fixate on only one and expect us to care about this person. Jack slowly bleeds to death, and it looks like his life is over. But before he meets his end, he encounters a magic wolf. The wolf heals him, and the two share what appears to be a few days of rest. This peaceful moment was a wonderful breath of fresh air after Jack was almost killed by a group of brainwashed victims. The daughters of Aku are deadly villains, but they are also tragic figures. They were raised to kill and know nothing of love. For them, seeing an act of love in nature is baffling, which is something I find incredibly sad. When Jack recalls a repressed memory, his father slaying a group of men who ambushed them in the past, he remembers his father's words of encouragement. The decisions you make and the actions that follow are a reflection of who you are. You cannot hide from yourself. This is a powerful life lesson, and I love how it's said while Jack's father is tenderly wiping blood out of Jack's eyes. This advice gives Jack the courage to defend himself against the daughters of Aku. Before Jack kills most of the daughters of Aku in self-defense, he warns them that their choices led them here. But he doesn't know that they didn't make a choice. They were raised to kill him. Killing him is their sole purpose in life, and is all they ever knew. So it's truly tragic that Jack has to take almost all of their lives. This bummer ending makes the following episode's happy ending with Ashi all the more special. Wow, it took all this time Just to get into the meat of this video. That's an Academy record. Episode 4 was such a great adventure. It featured the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Ashi, the only surviving daughter of a coup, managed to survive a seemingly fatal fall. Jack, taunted by visions of crows calling him murderer, vows to himself that he will save at least one of their lives. He knows nothing about their horrible past, but he can see from Aishi's intense hatred that she's a deeply troubled individual.
I die! Why won't you die? Scum Aku will be triumphant! I will undo the evil that is you, samurai! I will kill you as long as I have breath in my body! I will strike you down!
If someone doesn't like me, I'm quick to give them the finger and go on about my day. But Jack encounters someone who hates him with so much passion, one who continually tries to kill him with no regard to her own life, and still manages to be empathetic towards her and keeps trying to save her. What a guy. The episode was beautifully directed and shot. Every frame was a painting. The use of color here was really masterful. Episode 2 and 3 had this survival thriller kind of edge, but this episode felt like a character-based comedy. Jack and Aishi's respective personalities clashed with so much humor. The normally silent Jack was at his most talkative here. Somehow, the tragic events of the past few days has him feeling better than ever. I suppose what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. The episode's conclusion broke my heart. Don't get me wrong, it made me happy to see Aishi realize that Jack was in the right all on her own, because Jack somehow convincing her wouldn't have felt genuine. People are far too stubborn to be swayed over a simple discussion after living their entire life believing one thing. People need to put the pieces of the puzzle together for themselves for their minds to truly change. No, what really bummed me out here was seeing just how messed up Aishi and the rest of the daughters of Aku's childhood was. I'm glad Aishi can be reformed, but her sisters didn't get the opportunity and died without ever knowing what love is. A truly bittersweet ending. Episode 5 had Jack teaching Aishi about the world at large and the reach of Aku's evil. The episode in the previous one gave me a kind of father-daughter or student-teacher kind of vibe here. Jack is presented as so wise and mature, while Aishi is so ignorant about the world and everything around her. I really didn't get any romantic vibes between the two of them at all, and I was enjoying this platonic dynamic between them quite a bit. Aishi has never had a father figure in her life, and it made me happy seeing her and Jack's innocent interactions. But things changed by the end of this episode. After a scuffle with brainwashed children and the evil master controlling them, Jack thinks all the children end up dying. The image is far too horrible for Jack to comprehend, so he runs away with the intent of taking his own life. Aishi follows him throughout episode 6, and she learns of all the good he's done. This episode must have been any fan's dream. There was so much world building on display here, and it really solidified my decision to go back and watch the original series after this season concludes. To reflect on her character progression, Aishi rids herself of the suit bodysuit she's been wearing this whole time and dons herself in a leafy dress. I'm a sucker for evolving character designs, and seeing Aishi go from all black to a colorful, more feminine outfit was a real treat. Aishi finds Jack in a graveyard about to kill himself. That vision that's been haunting Jack this entire time has a physical form, and it appears to be his guilt personified. The creature batters Aishi around, which to me represents how destructive guilt is on people you love. But once Jack learns that the children he thought died are still alive, that gives him the strength to slay his guilt once and for all. In episode 5, we see Ashi as this depressed brat looking for a reason to live. Jack supports her and injects hope into her life. In episode 6, we see Jack at the lowest point in his life, wanting to die to rid himself of his guilt. Ashi supports him and convinces him to fight again. This was a beautiful dynamic, and this relationship only gets better as we get into episode 7. And guys, I know I keep messing up with Ashi and Ashi, I'm sorry. Ashi! Episode 7 has Jack confronting one of his greatest enemies, himself, in an attempt to find his lost sword. Meanwhile, Ashi deals with an external conflict, an army trying to slay Jack and eventually her own mother, who she kills. This episode was another Opus tier masterpiece, as is episodes 2 and 4. The use of silence and sound here was exceptional. The fight scenes were intense, and the life lesson that anger is blinding can resonate with just about anyone. Finally, this episode has Jack and Ashi standing on equal ground. Both of their conflicts, the internal and external one, was solved all by themselves. A truly even relationship now. The teacher has helped his student become his equal, and the student has helped her teacher learn to fight again. Episode 8 was pure fun. Despite the age gap between our leads, the episode portrayed Jack as very young and inexperienced with women. It was so charming seeing him flabbergasted over merely brushing fists with the opposite sex. It's been fascinating watching the show's dark and mature themes evolve into this joyous, juvenile romance. When the episode ended with our two leads kissing, I was smiling so hard. Seeing their relationship evolve from platonic to something a bit more intimate was so refreshing and just romantic as all hell. I never expected such tonal variety in the show's run, and it really goes to show how everyone involved in this season really went all in. By the time you see this video, this series will be over forever, and I don't even know how to feel about that because this show is just so good. But I can only hope that the writers give Jack and Ashi the happy ending they deserve.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Well, that'll do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Consider donating to our Patreon account. By doing so, you help us pay for this lovely studio you see behind me. We all have full-time jobs and personal lives. A little financial help will go a long way towards keeping our video schedule hot and fresh, fam. Before we close out, I want to pimp out my upcoming novel, Nina and Minerva. It's a tale about two women from opposing factions who fall in love after an alien invasion. It's somewhat of a cross between Romeo and Juliet and The Last of Us. I'll have a release date for the book out soon. In the meantime, check out the Facebook page and read a few excerpts if you're interested.